Hello, this is Lisa Griffith again, and today we're going to start the studies for two round forms on a patterned ground. We're going to start today with, if you look at our round forms, I have a bowl and an interesting tall black cup from the cabinet. If you look at it, you have to look at how you're seeing the opening, the sphere. Are you seeing it flat on? If we were cubists, we could do it any way we want. But we're trying to learn how to draw something the way we see it. So how do you see it? And you have to go from a full circle to what's called an ellipse to an extremely tight ellipse. This is the beginning of that word that scares people sometimes, perspective. This is how do you see the sphere, and when does it become so narrow that it's almost a line. Okay, and that is the perspective of looking at a round surface. So we'll start today by just drawing. First step is back like we did with the cube and the egg. We're just going to play with circles. And when I do a circle, I just keep pushing around over top, kind of in the air like this, and then I drop down when I think I've got a good circle. Then I step back and I clean it up if I need to, but that's not bad. So what we want to do is a full circle to an ellipse, and then the ellipses are the trickier ones because you tend to, at some point, usually me on the left side, you want to turn it into a point instead of a rounded shape. So this is a more spherical shape, seeing it in space, kind of cutting in space, and then it can get even more narrow. Like that. The only parts you want to watch out is that you don't get it too pointy here, and that you don't go too concave or too convex in its flat bottom. So that's pretty good. And now we do these because all of a sudden you can say, all right, why is she making me do this? Well, if you pull your edge off, say my tall black cup I just showed you, you pull it off like that, and there you go, that's why. And then you start to bring in a handle, and that is why I make you do these, because it teaches you. This could be a bowl, but you're going to be seeing the full bowl. You're going to be seeing the bottom of the bowl, and you're only going to see a small side of the bowl. So it's like the viewer's looking down at the bowl, okay? So we want to do a whole page of these. When you feel comfortable with that, then go to your still life, set your still life up, as we have through the whole process of the first 3 videos. Make sure your still life has got a good light source like we always do, so that it's easier for us to see. I threw a shirt in here for a simple pattern so that I can show you pattern. And here's where we're going to use what we just learned, and you're going to figure out where do you want, and again, I have to push hard for you to see it. You push as lightly as you can so it has you'll have less damage to your paper. I'm trying to get that bowl now, my white bowl, and I have to look and see if that's right, because I think I'm good, but I'm not 100% sure, because I'm not able to stand too much in front of it. And let's see, let me step back. Actually, I'm pretty good. I'm not happy with that, but that's actually not too bad. I think I'm narrow here and wider here. Do you see that? So I need to I got to echo this shape over here, which I can do if I do it again. That's better. And then, as we talked about, come right off that half circle and pull your shape of your bowl in. Come off that half shape, pull your bowl in, and then how deep is your bowl? If you're using a bowl, you can use a bowl, you can use a pot, you can use cups, any round elements you have that you like, and that you like the shape of. Always draw what you like the shape of, because if you like the shape of it, you're going to be more interested in getting it to work. And that should be good. The bottom usually echoes the top unless something weird is going on, and designers have become so clever with glass that you may have a rounded glass top and a square bottom. And that's fine. If it's square, draw what you see. Again, always just default to draw what you see, so you don't have to make it up. Illustrators make it up, and it's a little more harder work. Again, my sides are not the same. I have a problem with that a lot. I have to decide, do I like that angle, which is more down, or that which is more cut in? I think I like that one better because I think it's doing what my bowl is indicating. So I think I'm going to just pull this out a little more and come in. This is one of my favorite cereal bowls. Okay, now I chose a tall thing so that I'm starting to use an interesting use of space. I brought it a little close because I want them to be connected to each other, but not right on top of each other. So I have to decide where, and I think I like it up there because it's behind the bowl a little bit. So I may find the bottom of this one first. So it kind of goes above the bottom of the bowl. The bowl's in front. So I think I'm going to go here with the bottom. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I'm getting the top and the bottom, because it's tall, in the same alignment. I'm going to put it should be a light line. I'll draw a heavier line for you guys to see it. And I'm just going to do a line down the center of that cup. And then I can find that my ellipse now has to float. It has to have the same amount of space on the right and the left side if I want my cup to be centered in its own base. So I have to get the shape of that, and I'm kind of making it too narrow. I'm going to make it a little fatter. Notice there's no absolute. You just keep working it until you get a shape that you say, while you're there drawing it, that works. And then keep going. Okay, I think that's good. I'm happy with that. So now I just have to, again, come off the ellipse and come straight down, come off the ellipse and come straight down. All right. Now, am I good? I think I'm still a little narrow on this side compared to this side. If you see it, if you actually take a finger and do this, I'm a little narrow. So that means this side needs to come out a little, give it a little fat, give it a slightly fatter hip, and come down. And these things, as I said, these vines break. I think that's good. I got to step back, guys, and see. That is. All right. Now, this needs to be a little rounder. This cup comes out into a base. It's like a stein. So I'm going to go out at an angle like that. It's going to round off somewhere around here. So I'm going to try to do the same round off. And again, if you have trouble with that, you can always make a fast stencil and flip it if you need to, if you absolutely need to, and you struggle with that kind of thing. All right, so that, I think, for its first bottom is good. Now it has this little foot that comes out that does something like that, and then just re-echoes, that echoes the shape. Again, I think my original line here was better on that foot. Let's see. Good. All right. Now, I don't know if I showed you the handle, but this cup has a handle. So let's bring in the handle now while we're here. And then we can just kind of slowly, I figure out where it's coming in from here. And it's pretty close to the top, but there's a better ways up from the bottom. And it interlocks with this a little much. You can see that where this almost stops is where the arc of the handle is. So again, you're doing some internal relationships to the objects. Now I just have to, I've got the basic shape of the handle. Now I got to come up with the thickness of the handle, and I'm just going to play with that like this and just see if I can keep it a good. There's a break in this handle, so maybe I'll even put that in. It got a chip taken out of it. And then it goes fat here because it has to attach. The maker of the glass pot or the glass cup has to widen it to get a good attachment. If it goes in too narrow, they pop off, they break off on you. So this is going to go a little wider, and this is going to go a little wider. That might be too wide for that, but that's good. And I think that's a good. I think there might be some dimensional elements happening here where I'm seeing the underside of the cup's handle. So I think I'm going to bring that in there, but you don't see it here. Instead, on this side, you see a slightly fatter. So I'm just going to do that. Okay. So let me darken so you can see this, because I realized I just did this quite lightly, and I know I have to work dark for the camera to pick it up. All right, so those are our two objects. Now remember, this was objects on a patterned ground, and I have a linear pattern happening there. So my pattern comes through. This is our plane line. We started a plane line in the last drawing. My plane line is about here. So I indicate my plane line. So now this is background space, and in our drawings right now, this is fine to leave, just clean. If you have a really strong light source and you want to bring it in, that's fine. But right now you can leave it just as clean as you can keep it. And then we're going to bring in that pattern. The pattern is a linear pattern, so I'm going to just find where it intersects with the cups. This comes on the other side here. Got to make sure I'm not going downhill. That's that. It goes there. There's another line that comes right about here. And then it repeats itself again. Double, single. You shouldn't, I don't see one, but my pattern indicates that that's an awful lot of space because I already set up it. So just say, okay, it's my world, my drawing. There's no right or wrong. Throw a line in there if you need it, because I thought I needed it, so I did. Okay, and then I'm going to do another double here. Double pattern. Let it just disappear. Double pattern. Find a pattern of something like I did, something relatively simple, so you don't go too crazy with it, because it's very good to learn this. It is also setting you up for when we have to do tactile surfaces, which is coming up pretty quickly. So it's making glass look like glass and metal look like metal. Those kinds of elements all come into to how to draw, and we will work on that as well. Okay, let's step back. As far as I'm concerned, that's good. Now that we have the pattern in, now we have to figure out on top of that pattern where those shadow contour lines come in so that we can draw our shadow. Now when we're shading this, which will be our next step, this entire front of this bowl is quite dark. Okay, this is quite dark. Inside the bowl itself, there's a lot of really beautiful lights and darks going on. So there's some darks going on here, there's some darks going on here, and it gets quite dark as it disappears. And then there's some incredible bright lights where we might bring in the white charcoal on that one. And then here, there's a beautiful, just a simple rounded shadow that goes off our picture plane again. It comes about like this, and this is all shadow. So you will draw in your pattern, and then you will overlap it with shadow, because it's a pattern that's now caught in shadow. Now on the cup, there's not as much shadow. The base is quite wide, and it should have a nice, but it doesn't. It seems to diffuse the shadow on it. There's a little bit of a kind of a weird half circle thing right here, and then a subtle but very subtle shadow out here. So my shadow on this is just really dark here and really light right about dark here, and this is very light. So hopefully you can see that. So that's how we're going to shade it. On the cup itself, we have this absolute reflection of the big white bowl. It's creating this really beautiful kind of half oval going this way, which is quite beautiful. And then there's a brilliant light right there that's absolutely bright There's a brilliant light right there that's absolutely bright. And on the lip of this cup, there's a lot of lights and darks. There's also some lights and darks going on. There's some bright lights right here, which is the background white paper. And then there's some beautiful darks going on right here. Okay, so we'll go back into those and work them up. So this is a contour study with pattern. Again, any questions, email me at lgriffith@berkshirecc.edu and send the image along and I'll help you. Otherwise, once you've got it, get in there and start shading. All right, thank you.